This is Gerald van Was. Can we at least have a good impression that we can recognize the letter combinations in a word, even vaguely, that we already can recognize the context which is expressed in the letter combinations that a word expresses? And I will give you the example of the difference between a word like widow and window. It's just one letter difference, and has a completely different meaning. In the background, in the context of the letter positions, it is expressing a certain situation which is slightly different by just adding one letter. And how does that work? I will show you in a minute. Of course, in the background, I will have my three regions of letters, of the regions that make my orientation. So I have an orientation on each word with the letters, and I do that unconsciously, but I deal with the situation that I know a word more or less, or am acquainted to understand what it is, or a little bit less. I have to adapt a little bit. When I really sure what I have in my hands, let's say, it's in the blue zone. It is I have a stable focus and I can work with it directly. Certain letters work for that. So that's one focus. It's that one kind of focus. And in the geometrical and associative geometrical 9-dimensional space actually, but it is also a sort of 3-dimensional orientation in which I have also the element of time and the element of reorganization or full context. It's also a kind of 3-dimensional space. So we have 3 times 3-dimensional spaces that we orientate ourselves, and that is the logic, the geometrical logic behind the choice that we made for letters and letter orientations. It is like as if we found not just the rhythm, it's like this is more practical. It's a distinction into 3. That's what is easy for us to understand. We have a point of, or in the center we have material that is around it, and it has certain borders. It is a very easy concept, and we have that in 3 dimensions, in space, with a stable point as a foundation for all what we see in the world and what we orientate ourselves. But the things aren't always so stable, so we have to adapt a little bit. That's where language comes in. We have to adapt, and that's where the extra dimension comes in. It's not just one stable point, there is an unstable point, and we try to make out where is it going to. This is the second focus. This is like the Y in the higher third dimension, let's say, of orientations. It is that orientation of, oh no, it goes into a different direction. Let's follow that. And the last, I will not go too deep into this, but I have these 3 regions of stable elements, of moving elements, or where you don't see where things are going very well. You need context to say, okay, I have to adapt it a little bit so that it will work for this particular moment of confrontation, and I have another couple of letters for that one, and it gives it a full context where it is at that moment and at that place, at that specific need of orientation. And I can put all the letters into the right categories of orientation, and I put them into a right order. For window, I will also use these 3 regions to put the right letters of the orientations into that scheme. And where are all the letters? Actually, all the letters are from a timed schedule, except for E. So it means actually, and you can interpret that already so easily, if you know, if you recognize the letters, what it is about. It is the full context in which the word is embedded is timing. So there is something that happened there. So it's completely involved in a time schedule in which the starting person, so which is where the widow is about, receives an extra context, E, and actually it is also that limited context. E is the third level of context. The third level, always in each of these three regions, is about checking out the limitations, realizing the limitations, and making limitations so that you know, okay, it's only there at this point. That's where the practical moment is, and I insert that moment there. I mostly emphasize the insertion, but it's actually also about finding where the limits of the situation is. And here this widow is actually describing a whole time schedule that is going on, in which one point is inserted there at where the person is, and it says that it limited the situation, and that's how the context of widow is indeed describing what widow is about. And the letters, of course, I can go a little bit deeper into the letters as well, but let's look at the difference between window then. Window there is that N which comes completely to it. The N is also about the timing. It's a timing where you have that moment where you make changes. In D, a change happens. A change really is started, but the N is that continuation of what is changing, and at starting point where you can make these changes happen. And of course, the changes, you can see that in the letter N, is a change. What is a change? Actually, it is something where you start differently, where you end differently, or where you have something at some moment where it is there and another moment where it is not there. And that's what makes the difference, and that's what makes the timing. And you go, of course, to the moment where you have where something can be done. So you have at some point, it is like the windows. At some point it is closed, and another part it is opening. You realize that moment into that time schedule where you can access that change. And there, the viewpoint, what you have as in the E there, that viewpoint, a new situation, can be an opening to O and ends in the results of W. So this W is the starting point and the ending point, and that's the last thing I also add to express also as letter meanings what it means, so I can have a little, you can understand a little bit what's going on. So both of these words, they start with W and end with W. So the W is quite important, and so I will express it, what it really means in context and so on. Both of them are also, of course, in the background of time schedules, of movement, of changes, and so on. And what's the kind of focus? All these letters are kinds of focuses. So we have the D and Y as starting point focuses, the O, E, Z, W as the focuses that follow up. They follow up what is changing. That's what you do then. And what is the difference between all these four letters at that example? The W is at the end, so it is looking at the limit. It's looking at where is it going and where is it going and what is really changing there. So it is having a focus. It doubles its focus towards the end, and it says, okay, I have a wave. Where is it going and what is it changing? That is my kind of attention that I follow in W. Like this. So you have this wave of changes and you follow what is changing, or what's changed. What's changed over time, or what is changing over time when you start something, or what was changed over time. So what is really what is the end effect of it, and that's your what you sense with these letters in both of these words. With widow, you had, of course, the made it so that something with E changed in context. We know that already, and this created a new start with D, a new specific moment with O, and at the end you sense what has been changed because of this. So something changed in the situation. It was a limit in the situation, especially for that window. It's a limit in the situation, and you check what really changed. With window, you have this extra N which comes to it, and first it also starts with that no situation. It's not there now, but it can, because of the N, can become an opportunity, and only then it will start from the leading the new opportunity with D. It leads a new time schedule. So I go from no to yes, and I access a new time schedule, a new opening in O. And of course, it's already yes, opening. It ends with the complete openness of the situation, which was the evolution that I followed during the letter combination, during the opportunity. After the opportunity, it opened up even further. That's what the window does. Thanks to the N, you have an opportunity that opened up and opened up further. While the widow, without the N, it doesn't have that opportunity. What shall I change? What shall I add? What can I take out? No, it just has these fluctuations of the W in the background and sees, okay, something changed. I have a limited situation in my time schedule, and something changed, and she senses that what happened and what changed and so on. And I hope these two words made you understand how letter combinations guide you, direct you towards a contextual situation that describes these words also accurately. Okay, thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.